Hey YouTube, Aiden here. Today, a reminder if you want a lesson, I guess. I always forget to do something at the beginning of today. It's the reminder if you want a lesson, check the link in the description. Today is going to be a sound test of all my different slides. I have 3 different slides I can use on bass trombone right now. I have my Shires dual bore B62/78, the standard model. It's got nickel oversleeves, different lengths. It's got a nickel crook, yellow tubes. Upper slide is 562, the lower one is 578. I have Edwards V slide, which is single bore, so both are 562. And this has the weird crossbar that's just like one piece. There's no sockets or anything. It's got equal length oversleeves, bronze tubes, and a yellow crook. And lastly, I have a Shires, come on. There we go. That was connected to something else. I have a Bach Lt 50 slide, which has a single bore, just 562, no oversleeves at all, nickel tubes, and nickel crook. These should be pretty different slides. They're about kind of like if you had 3 different slides that all worked on bass trombone, these are about, well, they're not as different as you could get, but in the Bach style, because they're all kind of Bach-ish, about as different as you can get. I'm going to test all 3 of them using the same things. I have, let's see what I have, a flexibility thing, I have a little high range thing, I have articulation in mid-register, low register, and higher register, and then I have a low flexibility and articulation exercise. And maybe I'll play some music on them as well. That's all I have for now. And I'm going to do all of those with the same bell section, same lead pipe, and same mouthpiece. And I will correlate all these. I'll put all the, collate, I guess is the word. I'll put like all of the flexibility things next to each other and then all the articulation, etc. So, the sound test, I got a nice microphone. I have my earplugs in, so I'm not trying to manipulate the sound at all. I'm just kind of playing. I'm going to stand in the same place. This is about as scientific as I can get, which is to say not very scientific. But hopefully this turns out pretty cool. I'm really interested to see the differences in the playability, because that's what I'm going to notice, and then once I listen, the differences in sound. Enjoy! right, now for the conclusions, at least my thoughts behind the bell. As I played, I would play each slide all the way through, and then immediately after I would go write down what I thought about how it played. Not how it sounds, because I had earplugs in. You know, I can tell a little bit, but I'm really just going for the response that I'm getting. So, I put them all in order, obviously in the video that you see, where each one is by the exercise, but I played each slide in order. So up first was the Shires. I felt like it's actually pretty flexible. At the time, the slots felt pretty tight, like I'm not able to just kind of like wander around in between partials, but it didn't feel inflexible. So nice, secure slots, but also still flexible, kind of what you want in an instrument, at least what I would like in an instrument. The high range feels okay if you play it just right. It's really easy to kind of let it go and it fuzzes out. I think you can hear that, especially in the top, the 8th partial. It just doesn't have a super great sound. I think, get a good sound up there, but it is a lot of like thought and energy to do that. The 3rd partial still feels like a minefield, is literally what I have written. That has been a problem for me this whole time with this instrument. I just constantly slightly double buzz, especially on attacks, notes in the 3rd partial. So F in the staff down to B in the staff. Just like the worst range for me. It's gotten 1,000 times better, but it still doesn't feel good. I can feel, even going through flexibilities when I articulate, I'm like, ooh, I'm right on the edge of this fuzzing out. It doesn't feel like I can just go, boom, just lay it out and just play a D in the staff. I have to be careful. I'm never really satisfied with the articulation, at least behind the bell. I don't know, just can't, I'm not just like, do, and I'm like, yeah, that felt really good. I'm always like, there's something missing there on my end, I think. And it's something about the equipment, but I can't dial things in just perfectly about it. The low range feels really good. It feels nice and wide. It's not very even. I think that a lot of that's just the bell section, the bell. There's a big difference between the valve notes and the pedals, especially. I really like how all of those ranges sound, but they don't all sound the same. Up next is the Edwards. That was the next slide in the order. It has even tighter slots than the Shires, but it's not impossible to get around. It is less flexible though. The slots are a little narrower, and the space between them, kind of where you flex, is it's like almost like a black hole. Like there's a gap instead of the notes kind of being next to each other. I can still get around, but it's not as easy. The high range does have an easier slot. It's an easier place to place the note once you get up to like 7th, 8th partial, and it feels like it has a little more core to it. I'm not sure how that sounds in the video, actually. I guess we'll find out. The 3rd partial does feel better, but it's still not 100%. I still feel like I have a chance to fuzz out on the attack or whatever it would be. And this slide, the articulation actually feels a little bit better, but it feels like I have even fewer choices in the different ways to articulate. It's kind of like, duh, that's the only thing that comes out of the bell. I'm not sure how that actually is in front of the bell. Well, I guess we'll find out. You guys will find out when you listen to this. And the low range is a very tight slot. It's like the rest of the horn, or the rest of the slide. It's a very tight slot. And it is constricting after a point. Like, if you play it just right, you're like, wow, I really like this sound. I really like how it feels. But if you slightly miss it, it's kind of like game over. It just doesn't come out. I actually feel like the articulations I played on low C's today in the video are actually okay. But in testing, like yesterday and today, I would play that slide and just be like, nope, it has nothing on the Shire slide. Just 100 times worse. And that's only on this bell section. On other bell sections, it's actually great. It has none of those problems. And last up, the Bach slide. The stupid laptop turns off, of course. Flexibility wise, it's not hard to get around. It's got a lot looser slots, which is pretty typical from a Bach. But the intonation is a little more difficult. Because of those looser slots, you can kind of land in different places on the partial, and it kind of still sounds the same. So you can just kind of play with a good sound, and it's all just out of tune. something you got to get used to, and I'm not used to because I've not played a Bach bass slide for like 3-4 years now. The high range actually feels pretty good on this slide, but again, this is the last slide, so I might just be warmed up. I don't know, it's not a scientific test. And the third partial still has some fuzz. And like I said here, I can't tell if it's more stable, like it actually is better, or if it's just more forgiving, because the slots are larger. I kind of have a larger space where that third partial actually works. And I think that's probably what's going on. Since it does have more room for error, the slots are larger, I do feel like the articulations, I can just kind of get more different things out of it than just duh, or whatever the Edwards was giving me earlier. The low range isn't bad. It does feel like it kind of widens out, kind of opens up. But the low stuff, especially 2 valves, might be actually the most difficult on the slide without like doing it just right. On the Edwards, it's kind of like halfway between this and the Shires. Like the Shires, just easy. It feels really good, and I think it sounds pretty good too. Edwards, not quite as easy. It still sounds good, and on this, it can sound good, and it can be easy, but it not necessarily is. So my thoughts are, I'm already using the best slide. I think the next slide I would use, if I had to choose one of the Edwards or the Bach, I'd probably choose the Bach slide actually, because the Edwards I have used in the past, and it just, after like 2 or 3 days, I want to throw it at a wall. It is just so unforgiving. And I feel like the Bach has enough room to let me just kind of explore the instrument and the sounds it makes. And kind of the, what I learned is that I'm very excited for my new bass trombone, because I think it'll be much more forgiving, and all of these slides are going to be really, really baller. I had to make this video pretty quickly because I'm giving this Bach 50 slide back, so we won't see it again. And that's all I got. See you guys next time.